Thanks. Okay. Pleased to have up here with us now Carl Edwards. Carl is the driver of the number 19 Subway Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. And Carl, we're at a big weekend here for NASCAR, big weekend for motorsports, obviously, but 600 miles of remembrance on Sunday, where a fallen serviceman or woman will be on the windshields of each of our 40 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series drivers. Just talk about the significance that has to an athlete like yourself that has so many freedoms in this country.
Well, it's a true privilege to be able to honor, in my case, Captain Jablonski for giving his life in Vietnam, and for the man that he was. And it's neat to walk through the garage. It's more than neat. It is humbling to walk through the garage and to think every one of those names on the windshields are the ones that died to protect the freedoms that we all enjoy. I mean, I truly believe the freedoms and liberties we have in this country are what makes it the greatest country on earth. So that is a real privilege, and I'm honored to be wearing the Subway colors this weekend. In light of that, Subway's donating over $100,000 to the USO and 5,000 meals to troops, and so they've really really got some skin in the game. Those guys are out there doing something for the men and women that are protecting us. And it's the Coke 600, which still to this day it's a little bit surreal for me to be coming here as the returning champion, the defending champion of the Coke 600. So it's just a cool weekend.
Well, very good. And you took my next question because you won that race.
Yep.
And just talk about what it would be like to win it again.
Well, it's probably the biggest race I've ever won, and it didn't. There was so much going on last year at that time that we won the race, and I was so relieved. Everything we'd been through up to that point in the season, there was a lot of pressure, and so when we won the race, all the pressure came off, and I thought, man, that's great to get that win. And then still, it's just one of those wins that over time it's just grown. And when we came here to do the media, I was telling the folks that were here, I read through the kind of the run of show, they had me listed as the defending Coca-Cola 600 champion. I thought, man, that's really cool. I mean, that's so it's still getting my head around the fact that we won that race. So it'd be nice to do it again.
Questions for Carl, if you have one. We'll start with Jonathan and then go to Rick and then Jeff.
Jonathan Mammer, NASCAR.com. Carl, you're always a fan when we take more downforce away from these cars. What were your impressions after the All-Star race with things that changed in the back end, and what do you anticipate for these two upcoming races where we have that plus the smaller splitter and smaller spoiler?
I mean, it's all right there. The proof is there. The whole year we've had awesome racing. We have close finishes. Things didn't go exactly as planned at the All-Star event, but that was a new format, and there was a lot of unforeseen things that happened. The racing on the track, though, was good, and it's been good all year. I already sent Steve O'Donnell a thank you text. I'm so excited about the things that are coming at Michigan and Kentucky. I mean, NASCAR is doing what it takes. The teams are doing what it takes to go out and figure out how to make this, the best racing it can be. And it's going to be a blast. I'm telling you, these cars, when you drive them sideways at 200 miles an hour and you're close to people and you're able to pressure them and race like that, that's as good as it gets. So I'm very excited about Michigan and Kentucky. It's like Christmas for me.
Let's go to Rick, and then we'll go to Jeff.
Hey, Carl, a week or two ago, you were on the radio locally, and you just told what I thought was a really charming story about what happened when that M&M Mars box showed up when you had your get together with Kyle. I just wondered if you could go through what happened that day. It was pretty funny.
So yeah, Richmond was. I mean, we pushed it right to the limit, as hard as I could race a teammate, and Mars does a really neat thing for the winners of a race. They send, if you win the race, Mars sends you a really neat box of chocolates. And so the shop the next week, Kyle and I got together. We had a meeting, and it was, it was kind of a tough meeting, but we left on decent enough terms. But then Randy gave me this box of chocolates, and it's, congratulations on the Toyota Owners 400 win from Mars. And I don't know if they that might have got sent before they stopped it or what, but I thought it was really cool of them to send that, and I saw Kyle across the shop, and I thought, man, I got to ask him to sign it, and so he signed it, and that's where that picture, he put up on Twitter and all that, and I thought it was pretty cool. So, we somewhat made peace over chocolate, which that's pretty good.
Let's go to Jeff, and then we'll go over here to Jerry. Jeff?
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Carl, talking about the new package and the direction in general that NASCAR, it just seems like everybody is together now. And if you look back to last year at this time, the drivers wanted one direction, NASCAR wanted one direction, the owners maybe wanted to stand still. It's kind of hard to believe in some ways that how far everybody's come to where it's all focused on lower downforce. If somebody had told you this a year ago, that it would come this far in a short amount of time, would you have believed them?
I'm really happy with the way things are going. But I think it's NASCAR's job to run this sport the best that they can. They've done a really good job over the last, 50, 60 years. I mean, they've made this into what it is. So a healthy dose of skepticism when a bunch of drivers come tell you what they want probably serves them well. And but yeah, right now, literally, I can go to anyone at NASCAR, Mike Helton or Brian or Steve O'Donnell, and whether it's through the council or individually, I can go talk to them, and there's a lot of communication back and forth. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't get just as many penalties or black flags or whatever. I mean, the competition's still the competition, but it's pretty neat right now that everyone wants to make the racing the absolute best it can be, and people are listening, and I think that's as good as it. That's all you can hope for.
Let's go to Jerry on the left side.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network, and Kicking the Tires. Carl, on the new lower downforce package with the 2 inches on the splitter and the lower spoiler, have you been able to feel anything different or do you think you'll notice how big that is, or on the track? We heard Larson talk a little bit about it. What have you found?
I haven't heard, other than just some comments. Real short comments. I saw exactly what the cars drove like. So I'd be curious to hear, and I'm sure you guys could go to the guys that were at that test and really talk about the real specifics about how they drove. I can only imagine that having a smaller spoiler and a narrower spoiler and less of a hole in the air not only makes your car drive better, but it also is going to disturb less air when you have a big pack of cars. And at these big tracks, you got this is a big race car driving through the air at 190 or 195 miles an hour, and the smaller you can make that hole, the easier it is for people behind you to catch you. And that's what we want to see. We want to see guys who can get to each other, and we've seen a lot of that this year. And as we go this direction, I believe, I'd be surprised if it just doesn't get better.
I was just curious if you had actually talked to anybody else in depth about it yet.
No, I hadn't. I'd heard though that the corner speeds were quite a bit lower. There was a lot more driving involved. It's going to put it more in the driver's hands. But I didn't hear people talk about running close to one another yet. I don't know if Larson said anything about that, but you kind of don't really know till you get in a big pack. But man, I know I've had more fun racing this year just with the changes we have right now, and so another big step is going to be great.
Let's go to Kenny Bruce, and then we'll come back to Rick.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Carl, are there any negatives to these changes that they made, or anything that you can't do with your car now that you maybe could have done before?
There are absolutely no negatives. This sport, to me, I can speak as a fan because, until I got that call from Jack Roush, this was just something I dreamed of doing and watched on television. And the things that I grew up watching drivers do with these race cars, like that picture back there, cars sideways, just hanging it out. Stock car racing, NASCAR racing is built on that. And, I can't applaud NASCAR enough for going back that direction. I don't see any negatives. I think we're just going to have better and better racing.
Let's go back to Rick, and then we'll go back behind the affiliates to Dave.
Carl, about a week ago, David Wilson was saying that one of the things he really likes about where you guys are all at right now is there's not a whole lot of territoriality between the JJR people and the Toyota people and the furniture row people. I just wondered if you could speak to that, and if you give me any illustrations of how it works as far as sharing data and making what can be best for everybody.
meant to pinch myself at some point. It's like the greatest media availability. Everything's going well right now, yeah, so I don't want to screw this up. But yeah, TRD and the team's going great. I just did an event with a couple of you guys up there at TRD this week. Got to show off some really neat stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that I guess I've become kind of used to it in the last I don't know if that's the correct word. There's no line between where JGR stops and TRD. It's, you know, they are part of our team, and it's really cool to work with a manufacturer with all their resources and all their competitiveness to have them right there with you. And you know, I don't know who exactly. Sometimes there's guys on a truck, and I don't know who works for whom because it's just one team. And I think that's a big part of our success right now. I don't know that it's uncommon to try to achieve that. I think it's difficult to achieve it in any setting. I mean, you guys work in a business setting, a competitive setting. It's hard to have two separate businesses really work together and not have egos or competition or grudges, and I have not seen any of it. You know, when the TRD guys leave the room, it's not like everybody says, "Oh, hey, now we can talk." I mean, it's a true team, and that's cool.
Dave Exum, raise your hand. Let's get him the mic, please. Right over here. I'll go ahead and get him, and then we'll go back to the middle there. Go ahead.
Tucker White, SpeedwayMedia.com. Carl, between an exhibition race and a points race, what would you say will give you a better return on results on testing a new aero package per se?
You know, I think NASCAR really, I don't know. I mean, we've tried a bunch of different aero packages, and we've tried them at points races, and we've tried them at, you know, like we did at the All-Star event. And I think really this garage is full of people who can make whatever NASCAR brings us, we can make it work. And I don't really know that it matters. You know, if they change the rules this afternoon, I have a lot of faith that the guys in the garage could have this, you know, they'd have the cars ready to race this weekend, and it would be a competitive race. So I think the overall most important thing is that NASCAR's gone down this path, and they've done a really good job of testing all of these different things and having the teams be involved, and they're going the right direction. And, you know, they're not scared to do what it takes to make the racing great.
All right, we're going to take two more questions. Dave, raise your hand. You got your mic, and then we'll finish
Dave
with Chris.
Exum, Independent Tribune. Carl, I just wanted to ask you, if you could, I was looking at your rookie stats, and you finished like third in the standings. And
Yeah.
if you had advice for like Chase Elliott, what would you tell him? You know.
I don't know. I think the thing that first year, I didn't realize what I had was so special. I didn't understand how great it was. So, but I don't think I could have any advice for Chase. I mean, he seems to be about 10 years ahead of where I was at that point in my career already. So, you know, I think he's got it figured out. He seems to be doing a great job.
All right, final question right there, Chris Knight.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to not answer. I guess the biggest thing is just to appreciate what you have, because when you come in, sometimes it's hard to realize how tough it can be. But like I said, I think he already knows that.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Carl, with the mile and a half making up a significant portion of the chase for the Sprint Cup, if these changes do work, do you think the Drivers' Council or the drivers should levy NASCAR to help maybe make a tweak in the package for those races? Yeah,
I don't know what's on the table. You know, I don't. So but I'm all for whatever NASCAR wants to do. I feel like right now we're in territory where the racing's good. If they feel like it's going to be better, then heck, why not? Let's do it. I don't think anyone would complain. So it's up to NASCAR, but we've made it over the hump. You know, we can race now, and whatever we do after this just is icing on the cake.
Well, Carl, listen, thank you for coming in. We appreciate all you do. You do a lot of things for us off the racetrack, too, and represent us in a fine way, and know that you're going to be a great defending champion on Sunday night.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Thanks for being here.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Carl.
Yep.